Welcome to Silver Pros, sponsored by Hero Bullion. I am Silver Dragons, and I'm here with my co-host Yankee Stacking. What's going on, Yankee?
ISD, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, and I'm super excited to be discussing the topic trading silver for gold. We're actually going to cover this really thoroughly. There's four things we're going to cover in this video. Why would anyone want to trade their silver for gold? When you should think about doing it, how to actually convert it, and then we're going to share some key considerations and our opinions as well. So, you ready to get into this, Yankee?
Oh, I sure am. This is a hot topic. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a great topic for new stackers and veteran stackers alike. So, the first part is why would anyone want to trade silver for gold? What do you think, Yankee?
Well, that's a good question because we love silver. We stack it
True.
hard. And gold is sometimes out of reach for a lot of people. I get that. But I do think one big reason why you want to do this is to diversify, to have not all your precious metal eggs in one basket, right?
Right. Yeah,
So getting a little gold, not a bad thing.
absolutely. When you diversify into precious metals, you got to diversify amongst the precious metals. Absolutely don't have all your eggs in one basket. But also, gold is a little bit less volatile than silver, right?
Absolutely. That can be a plus for silver because, some people like that volatility. The potential upside is huge, right? Gold
Right.
a little less that way.
Right. But, for some of the older stackers out there that maybe don't want to weather the storm, then gold could be more appealing.
You didn't go there. Older stackers. Okay, I get it. Yeah, I know. I do love gold. I have to admit. This is my latest piece. Oh, man. There is something else though that I think is worth mentioning, and that is I like to stack dense. So sometimes when you get a massive silver hoard, you have to have like a spare bedroom or a
Right.
or I mean it's tough to lug around. Gold is a lot denser. So, some people might want to, maybe lose some silver weight, maybe
Lose some
go on a
silver weight.
diet.
One good thing about silver and all of the weight is it can weigh down your safe. A big
Yeah,
heavy hidden safe is what we recommend. And
that's a good thing.
so, when you got a few 100 pounds of silver in there, makes it harder to move. But yeah, seriously, silver takes up a ton of space. It's very heavy, and
Mhm.
stacking it dense can be a pro for gold as well. So, what about the gold to silver ratio? Should people consider this? Is that one of the reasons you'd want to convert because it's more advantageous at a certain point in time?
I think so. I mean, again, maybe you want to. Could you explain just for those that might not be totally up on what the gold to silver ratio means? Can you give an example? Something
Yeah,
that might be helpful for especially the new stackers.
absolutely. So let's go over to Hero Bullion, the sponsor for the show. They've got some awesome charts, and we will look at the gold to silver ratio. In fact, let's just look today. Okay, so it's currently
Wow.
right around 67.52. Okay, so that
Hmm.
means 67.52 ounces of silver could buy you 1 ounce of gold if there was no premiums involved, if we were just looking at spot price, right?
Hmm. That's true.
Now, if we go back in time, I'm going to go to the 5 year chart. You can see this gold to silver ratio fluctuates. And when it is higher, that's a better time to be buying silver. When it's
Silver.
lower, that's a better time to be buying gold. So when you play the ratio, you could actually end up getting more metals at the end of the day. And here's the example I'll give. So let's say back in March of 2020, two people decided to get into precious metals, all right?
Hmm.
Because they're worried about, the world blowing up or whatever. There's a crazy panic going on, of course. And so person number one buys $10,000 worth of gold. Person number two buys $10,000 worth of silver. And the ratio is 120 to 1, okay?
Yep.
So Then they wait for the ratio to change. It comes all the way down to 60. And the person who had purchased all of the silver converts it to gold. And now they have twice as much gold as the other person, but they both paid the same amount of money. Isn't that crazy?
It's amazing. That's a great example. Really, really highlights the benefit of doing this.
Right. So definitely playing the ratio can be more advantageous. Some people would even sell gold for silver when the ratio is higher.
Yeah, would you do that?
Ah,
I put you on the spot. That's a tough one, isn't it?
okay. I will say if the ratio continues to come down, we've seen it come down over the last year.
Hmm.
And let me just show you the 1 year chart here.
Yeah.
So, a year ago it was at 100, and we've seen it coming down. It actually dipped down to 64 in February, so that's pretty low. But
Hmm.
if it continues to come down, let's say into the low 60s, the 50s, maybe the 40s or even 30s. We have seen 30s before. Um, if we go all the way back, oh gosh, how far back do I got to go to silver's height? It was in the 30s, 32.29. So if the ratio goes that low and I buy a bunch of gold with my silver and then we see the ratio go back up, absolutely I'm going to trade that
Okay.
gold for silver.
Okay. Good. So you play it both ways.
I
Yeah.
think you should definitely consider that. Absolutely.
Okay. And there's a range. I mean, different people have different ideas of when you should do it. At what point should you go one way or the other? You were just telling us that we're at, in the 60s, right? What
Right.
what was it at night right now?
About
GSR?
67.
67. So traditionally or historically, I should say, what has it been? Like if you go back hundreds of years, what are we talking about from a ratio of value of silver to gold?
Well, I mean, the United States government, they had put it at 15 ounces of silver to
Hmm.
1 ounce of gold. It was like that for a long time.
15 to 1, right. It
And
was
and
pegged that
then
way.
and then they raised it, and it went up to like 42 and 2/9 ounces of silver to one
Hmm.
ounce of gold. Mike Maloney
Yep.
did a great video on that a
I
few
remember
few
that.
days
Yeah.
back. But yeah, so it's been much lower than it is now. I think the 10-year average is in the 60s.
In the 60s, right. Some people actually talk about the ratio in terms of the amount of silver and gold in the ground, which I think
Right.
is what, 9 to 1? Is that
Yeah,
it?
yeah. It depends. Obviously, some areas have
Yeah.
more silver than gold, etc.
Hmm.
Silver, it's a byproduct of other mining. But yeah,
Hmm.
about 9 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold comes out of the ground. So why is the ratio so high?
Right?
Why is silver so manipulated? The price should be higher. A lot of us think.
Hmm.
But anyway, as far as
You want to do this, right? Though you play the GSR, right?
absolutely.
Do you have? I mean, what do some people have for ranges? Like, when do people do it?
Okay, all right. So this is what I've talked about in previous videos. If the gold to silver ratio is 80 or above, then I say buy silver. That's the time to be buying silver. If the gold to silver ratio is between 80 and 60, you buy a combination. If the gold to silver ratio goes below 60, then you're just buying gold at that point. So,
Hmm.
as far as when to convert it, people
Yeah.
start looking to convert their silver to gold at about 60,
Hmm.
right? And then
Hmm.
everyone's got a different target, and it is a moving target. But other people they wait for it to get to maybe 40. But if you wait for it to get to 40, you could run into some issues, right? You want to talk about that, Yankee?
Yeah. See, this is one of my concerns with the whole process, right? Right now, it's fine. I know people are doing it. In fact, I talked to my local coin shop dealer, Tim, today about the gold to silver ratio and how to play it. He had some concerns. One of the things that he says is if you wait too long and it goes too low, it could be unobtainium.
Yep.
There may not be any gold. You walk in, here's my silver, ready for some gold. I'm going to trade it, and there isn't any.
Right.
So it could be a challenge, especially if everybody wants to do it. So what do you think? Do it early?
Well, that's why I say it's probably better to start thinking at about when it's around 60. If you wait till it hits 40 or 30, your local coin shop might have no gold. So if you sell all
Yes,
of your silver and they have
exactly.
no gold to buy, then you can't do the trade. But obviously, you could look at online bullion dealers, et cetera, et cetera. But then you're
Yeah,
looking at probably crazy premiums on gold because the demand is super high, but the supply is
exactly.
non-existent.
Right now, it probably works well, especially in the physical markets. Paper markets, whole different thing, right? We're talking physical, right?
Hmm.
I do think that another challenge is those premiums. So we'll talk more about that in a bit, but you're right. Now is the time if you're going to do it, or if it gets below 60 into the 50s. I mean, that's really when you should be considering this.
Yeah, if it goes back down to 32, oh man, everyone
Oh
needs to be
man.
considering pulling the trigger or
But everyone will, right? That's going to be a mad
exactly.
rush. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So,
Uh,
you got to keep
yeah.
your eyes on the markets
Mm.
and see where it goes. Yeah, I've been watching them basically every day for the last 3 years. Yeah, so we've talked about why and when, but what about how? How do you actually convert your silver into gold? What's the process, Yankee?
Well, hopefully you have a good relationship with a local coin shop dealer,
You walk
someone
in,
that you trust, right?
right? Yeah.
Someone's not going to try to rip you off because remember, they're in it mostly for a profit. So are the online bullion dealers. So,
Right.
it's going to be a challenge, especially with inventories. But I would say a local coin shop dealer is probably the first step if you have
Okay.
one. A lot of people don't, but I would say, yeah, that would be my first step.
So basically, you're going to walk in with a box of silver, or you're going to bring a truckload of silver in,
I might call first, but yes,
and then you're going to walk out with some gold in your pocket.
hopefully
Right.
that's
So
the guy. That's the goal,
that's
right?
that's the preferred. Now, do you think that
Mm.
most local coin shops would do a straight trade where they'll take your
Okay.
silver and then give you gold, no paperwork, no cash involved? What do you think?
Again, I talked to Tim about this, and I can't speak to every local coin shop dealer, online bullion dealer, but what he said was that is fraught with tax implications when you do that,
Okay.
and he requires, and I think most do, maybe not all, but most require a dual transaction, right? You sell your silver, you get the fiat, you buy the gold. It's a challenge to do a straight up barter trade, if you will.
So it might not even happen all in the same day.
Exactly. True. Over time.
So, one thing I do want to mention, if you don't have a local coin shop near you and you want to sell your silver to an online bullion dealer, you could look at Hero Bullion. They're actually
Mm.
vamping up their buyback for silver. So, they've hired some more people and they're going to actually have the prices.
Right. Jake mentioned that just recently, right? That they're working on this.
Right. So I
Looking
don't
forward to it.
know if they're going to show it like on the quick view here, but I'm assuming it's
All
going to be
right.
where you click on a specific coin, it'll
Mm-hmm.
have the sale price, and then they'll probably have the buyback price somewhere down
Right.
here or something. But
Right.
a lot of the other bullion dealers don't show you the buyback price. So that's something really
No.
cool that they're going to be doing. We're excited for that.
Yep. I think that's it would be a great addition to Hero Bullion to do that. I mean, they're going to stand out with a lot
So
of bullion dealers.
So if you wanted to sell your silver, for example, to Hero Bullion, right now you'd have to call them on the phone, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that is going to be the process moving forward. But a lot of the other bullion dealers will buy your silver as well. So, okay, Yankee,
You're going to
just
have to ship it.
right.
Remember? Yeah, that's a whole, again, I think a local coin shop dealer bringing it in might be the first step.
And I will say this too: a lot of the online bullion dealers, after you ship it, they're gonna wait till they receive it, go through
Yeah,
it, test it, verify it, and then they're gonna cut you a check. So you
good
could be
point.
looking at a few weeks where you're
Yes.
just in limbo, waiting for your cash to go out and buy your gold. So I do agree with you. I think a local coin shop is a much better option if you can do it.
Hmm.
All right, so that's basically how you do it. What are some key considerations? And let's talk about if we're going to do it. I basically mentioned I'm planning on doing it, but I think what type of silver you actually sell is a consideration. What do you think, Yankee?
Absolutely. Actually, that was another key point that Tim had brought up to me. It isn't just like you can, hand a generic bar of silver to a coin shop dealer and say, well, that's 5 ounces of silver. I want the appropriate amount of gold, and I want an American gold eagle. All right.
Right.
He said it really is like for like in a sense. So if you're going to do a government minted silver bullion, you're probably gonna, get a closer ratio with government minted gold bullion,
So you're
right?
saying I bring in my 50 silver eagles when the ratio
Yep.
is 50 to 1, and
Uh-huh.
I get a 1 ounce gold eagle.
Exactly. No, but I mean, what I'm saying is if you brought in a round like this and or a bunch of these, right? And you said, okay, I want a gold buffalo. There's not going to be a tight ratio. The ratio is going to be different, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and
That
I
type of
think
thing.
you will have to negotiate a little bit. I've seen
Sure.
videos of other stackers actually converting, and when they're at their local coin shop, they negotiate what the ratio is going
Mhm.
to be, and they come to some sort of agreement. So it might actually be higher than the ratio. Like if it was
Right.
50 to 1, the coin shop might do 52 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold, etc. So,
That's right. That's right. I think, well, I think another, consideration here is, and you touched on it earlier, it's the ratio isn't always going to be just what you see, right? Or what you expect. There may be some loss with premiums. So
true.
if you try to sell something that is of low premium and you're trying to buy something that is of higher premium, you're not going to get the ratio you're expecting.
Right. Also, vice versa.
Mhm.
If you bring in a bunch of Eagles, which the Eagles do have really high premiums, even high buyback premiums right now, and you
True.
want to just get, some gold bars, you might actually beat the ratio in that
It can
case.
it can be done in your favor too. It can be a little bit higher, or actually, I should say lower in that case. Yep.
So, what about converting your whole silver stack into gold? Is this ever advisable? What do you think?
The whole thing?
Bring all your silver and walk
Oh,
out with
no,
gold.
no, 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 no. I stack silver and gold for slightly different reasons. They're both precious metals. They're both important in a broad sense, but they tactically are different. I love my silver for potential bartering in the future after an SHTF scenario. I love, the opportunity, I guess, to potentially see the manipulation fail and silver just, go bonkers. Silver is there for a reason. Gold, I look at it as a different reason to stack. My LCS dealer says silver is barter between people, gold is barter between nations. There is a difference between the two. And I think back to the diversification, we should have both. I am not going to convert my whole silver stack to gold.
Yeah, that's smart. And I do agree with you. I would never get rid of all my silver. But I do think if the ratio continues to go lower, that I am going to be getting rid of
Oh,
some of my silver.
okay, when? I want to know. What's your number,
Okay.
Dragons?
So, I don't want to give away too much. I've said, people start thinking at it about around 60. If it hits 50, I am for sure guaranteed going to take some of my silver down to the local coin shop, sell it, and hopefully walk out with gold as long as they have gold in stock. I'm going to call them, make sure it's all going to work out ahead of time. But that is my plan. If the ratio hits 50 to 1, which I think it could this year, if silver
Ooh.
keeps going up as fast as it is, I would not be surprised if later, perhaps in the winter, it goes that low. But if it doesn't, in within the next 2 to 3 years, I think it's very, very possible. So yeah, what about you,
Wow.
Yankee? Or do you ever plan on doing it? Would you do it? What if it goes to like 9 to 1, dude? What if it did? Would you?
Oh my goodness. I will never say never. Okay. My MO is mostly to stack what I'm after. I stack and keep. If I buy my silver, I keep my silver because again, it's for a purpose. I'm a prepper stacker. So I tend to look at it maybe differently. I don't consider precious metals a traditional investment. So I'm not keen on doing that. I'm a little bit concerned about the premium loss, having to negotiate it and make sure I don't, lose money in the transaction.
Right.
I'm not saying I would never do it, but I tend not to. I think you and I are slightly different in that regard when it comes to physical precious metals. Paper markets, yeah, I trade the ratio all the time, but I don't do a lot in the paper markets anyways. But yes, that's how. Okay, fine. If it went to 9 to 1, yeah, I'd do some.
Can you
Of course,
imagine?
of course, I would.
Can you imagine? Because, for the last few years, it's been around 80.
I
We've
know
been
it's been
buying
so high.
80 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. That's what I'm used to.
It's what I'm used to too. It's shocking to see this right now.
It's
It's amazing.
it's crazy. And this when silver and gold both go up together,
Hmm.
typically silver moves faster.
I
And so
know.
that's why we see the ratio tighten. That's why we see silver going up faster. And yeah, I think there will be an opportunity in the near future, and I do
Yep.
plan on converting some of mine. So, anything else you want to add, Yankee?
You said 50 to 1, but you might do it ahead of that, right? To beat the rush.
Yeah, and maybe make a video on it too.
Yeah, right. After you've done it, right? After you've done your conversion, then you'll let everybody else know, right?
I
I,
wanna walk in with 3 tubes of eagles and walk
Mhm.
out with a gold eagle in my pocket, and I think I could almost do that right now.
Yeah,
We're
that's
really
impressive.
close.
Wow.
Really close.
Wow.
So
Mm,
that's my plan.
exciting.
Yeah, that was super fun. Thank you so much, Yankee, for joining me in this video. And
Always a pleasure.
indeed, I hope everyone enjoyed the discussion. Feel free to leave any comments down below in the comment section, and we'll see you next time on Silver Pros.
Stack like a pro.